Live from New York, Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. AFA today, wishing you a Merry Christmas. There's a live look at the Brooklyn Bridge if you're watching on the AFA channel, and it is the sun trying to break through. It just is. It's just we're just having a struggle today, for whatever reason. But welcome to the AFA Today studios as we're keeping our eye on you. Also, I want to start a new tradition today, just until we're through Christmas. I'm gonna have an either or for you every day when you call. Either or. Today, it's shepherds or wise men. Are you team shepherds or are you team wise men when you call? And then we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about as well. What we are talking about is this discussion, this story, this report that Secretary of State John Kerry, reporting for duty, that he said yet last week or the week before Thanksgiving when they announced this great deal, this wonderful, incredible, life-saving, planet-prospering deal that we got, where we're giving $8 billion to Iran and promising not to check and see if they're building anything in the garage that they shouldn't be building. When we got that deal announced in Geneva last week, he said something very interesting. And the Fox News reporter that is so dangerous that the administration decided they need to tap his phone lines, James Rosen, is reporting to us that he said that John Kerry was saying that, that the President Bush had the opportunity to take this deal. He could have given Iran $8 billion, and they promised they would have stopped at 164 centrifuges. But now President Obama is going to give them $8 billion, and they have 19,000. And 80% of those 19,000 were made after President Bush wasn't even president anymore. And somehow that's all President Bush's fault. But now that we've given them the $8 billion and let them make the 19,000, this is obviously the beginning of the end of the nuclear aspirations for them. 888-589-8840. Your thoughts on this. And don't forget, Team Shepherds, Team Wise Men today. Let's go to Jeff in Maryland. Hi, Jeff. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Hey, Kevin. How you doing?
Are you Team Shepherds or Team Wise Men today?
I'm not sure. I enjoy your program. None of the stuff the liberals do makes any sense. They've abandoned logic and common sense. Don't you agree?
It has me running in circles. I'm trying to put 2 plus 2, and I keep coming up with 4, and I know that's supposed to be like negative 37, but I don't know how that works.
Exactly. I think probably the best thing would be to let the Israelis go ahead and take care of business over there and do what needs to be done. What do you think? Well,
I have this idea, Jeff, that they are going to do whatever they have to do to protect themselves. That much
they need to. Don't you think? I mean, something's got to be done.
When I was in Israel last spring, I told several members of the Israeli Knesset, because I was there at the invitation of the Israeli government, when we would have these conversations, and I can't tell you who I was talking to, but I'll tell you what I said to them. I said, I apologize that our government continually tries to put handcuffs on you. You should have the right, like any other country, to protect yourself. And I hope and pray that we will not stand in their way, particularly if, Iran has 19,000 centrifuges, 80% of which were made in the last 6 years. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Jim in Texas next. Hi, Jim. You're up next on with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're here. Team Shepherds or Team Wise Men today?
I would be, I think, Shepherd today.
And why? What would the reason be?
Well, quite frankly, Kirby, I'm not just now tuning into you, but I'm driving, and I didn't get the whole meaning of it.
That's okay. I'm picking Team Wise Man for one reason. I think they smell better, and they have nicer rides. They have better wheels. They rode around on camels. The shepherds pretty much had to walk wherever they went. So I think I would be on Team Wise Men. Anyway, Jim, I'm just being silly. Your thoughts on Iran?
Yes, it is. We all listened on millions of people heard or Secretary of State Kerry.
Jim, we're losing you. It sounds like you're going through a cell area. Call us right back, because it sounds like you've got something very interesting to say in relationship to Secretary of State Kerry's math. Let's go to Cynthia, who's also in Texas. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough.
Hi, Kevin. Hey, if I recall right, well, Obama wanted to say this is some kind of sanction thing, but I think when he first went into office, he's been trying to lift those sanctions from Iran the whole time, and he finally got his way. So,
yeah, that's what happened. And now we're told by Secretary of State Kerry in Geneva that this is a really good deal, that we got a really good deal out of this. We gave them $8 billion, and now they've made 19,000 centrifuges, and they're going to play nice now. We can trust them, because that's what we can do with terrorists.
Yeah, America got a really good deal there too, didn't we? Bye.
Well, we voted for him. I mean, come on, we can't blame anybody else. He got elected by the American people. That's our fault. We can't blame anyone else for that. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Alabama. That's where Jimmy is holding for us. Hi, Jimmy. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're here.
Good afternoon, guys. One comment related to what you're talking about is we need to filter everything through the Word of God, and the scripture that's referred to in Genesis, when God was talking to Abraham about those that curse you, I will curse, and those that you bless you, I will bless. And I think we definitely need to prod carefully as it concerns Israel, and any enemy of Israel should be our enemy. I believe
I agree with that.
We're very close to losing on out with our alliance with Israel as it stands now. We so many times, like some other callers said about handcuffing Israel, or as you had told them, and apologize to them. I appreciate you standing up for us as Americans, because I feel the same way. And,
well, and I told them, Jimmy, and they were kind of shocked by this. I told them, I said, the administration's view of Israel's right to defend itself is not largely representative of most people in America. Most people in America stand with Israel. Most people in America want Israel to be strong. Most people in America believe that Israel has the right, as any other independently governed nation, to decide for itself what it needs to do. I told them, I said, it's a very minority view that the administration holds on this, and it's not representative of the American people. Of course, then the question became, well, how did he get elected then? And I'm like, well, there were free phones and EBT cards and other things that swayed people. If he got elected, he was going to pay our mortgage and fill up our tanks with gas and all that kind of stuff. 888-589-8840. But now we've got this really good deal. We got this. It's a steal. It's a bargain. We only gave up $8 billion because, we're not having any financial troubles here. We can part with $8 billion. And they got to make 19,000 nuclear centrifuges. And we've promised we won't even check to see if they make any more. That's a really good deal for us, right? I mean, that's the thinking here. Team shepherds or wise men? Jeremy calling from Mississippi. Jeremy, you got to pick one or the other. You team wise men or team shepherds today?
I think I'm just going to be a passive observer. How about that? I'll watch those now.
You're going to referee the game there.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll observe for a while.
Fair enough, Jimmy. What's your thought on Iran?
So I was going to say that the deal makes sense if you believe that it's a pacification. If the government believes that Iran already has the capabilities to produce weapons, you can look at it in that sense, and that they're trying to pacify them, because obviously I think our government lacks some teeth and want to really defend our nation. And I think this passive stance kind of fits in with that scheme, right? So if you kind of plug this variable in, it might make sense why they're doing what they're doing.
So in that regard, if that's what they're playing here, if that's the play they drew up on the sidelines, then Neville Chamberlain really was better than Winston Churchill at the end of the day.
Well, I can't follow your context there, but I think it's obvious that they...
Well, because the pacification, it's a very simple context. Neville Chamberlain came back and said, we have peace in our time. He showed the piece of paper to the world and said, hey, look, they promised they're going to play nice. The Nazis aren't going to do anything. They're going to be nice. Secretary Kerry coming back, hey, they're going to be nice. We can trust them. They only have 19,000 centrifuges. And if that moron Bush before us, man, if he had had his act together, he would have given them $10 billion to do it. What a dummy. How could he have done that? How could he have let this great bargain go? Because they're not going to enrich anymore if they have $8 billion extra dollars, right? They wouldn't spend it on that. They're going to buy like silk curtains or something for the palaces or something. I don't know what they buy, but that's what they're going to buy, right? Right. Let's go back to Jim because he called back in and hopefully his connection's a little bit better. Hi, Jim. Sorry that we lost you earlier.
No, she heard my name wrong. This is Joe from Texas, sir.
Oh, Joe. Okay, go right ahead.
I'm a wise man.
Oh, you're Team Wise Man. Okay, and why? What's your reason?
I've gotten so much wiser since I've been hearing you guys.
Good enough, Joe.
But what they're gonna do, they use that nuclear stuff, and they're gonna use it on us. That's what's gonna happen if we don't watch it. So America needs to wake up. So that's my comment, Kevin.
All right.
Thank you for your show.
That's very fair, Joe. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you being willing to speak your opinion. 888-589-8840. It's Kevin McCullough. We're so glad you're with us. Let's go to Lynn, who's calling from Florida today. Lynn, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're here.
Hi, Kevin. I kind of agree with you, and I'm a wise man/woman.
You're Team Wise today.
You bet. You bet. There's a couple of comments with respect to your topic. One being that you can never pacify the devil because the devil always has an ulterior motive. There's no pacifying. Secondly, we have, as a small community that I'm in, we're praying that the scales be taken from the eyes of the illiterate, and I'm not talking about people who don't have an education, but I'm talking about the people who choose to get their information from TMZ and Entertainment Tonight and all those tabloid nonsense places, or the liberal media that chooses to only peacify, and go back with that peacify word, to peacify the general population who choose not to follow up with any other information and research what's being doled out there. But you can't pacify the devil. He's never pacified. He's always has an ulterior motive. And I'm with you with respect to the money situation. You know, you can't continue to give to the enemy because they're going to ultimately try to destroy Israel. Israel is God's people. It's God's nation. And if we don't stand with Israel, then we stand with no one. We elected the devil to run our country because of all the freebies, and unfortunately God has taken his protection off of the United States in a lot of aspects from the standpoint of allowing, we as Americans have allowed other Americans to kill babies, to murder us, and other things that have gone on in the United States, the taking God out of the church, out of the schools and out of the homes and what have you. But it all goes back to peacifying the devil, because when you peacify the devil, you're not. All you're doing is
aiding your own destruction.
Exactly, yeah. Because the devil is not ever peacified. He always has an ulterior motive. And
the appetite continues to grow with him. It doesn't seem to be satiable. And I hear what you're saying, Lynn. Thank you for your call. 888-589-8840. One programming note on that last caller. I probably wouldn't call the president the devil, no matter how strongly I disagreed with him. But I do understand Lynn's frustration. When you have a man elected to office who not once but 4 times voted before he was elected as president, voted as a state legislator to let children who had been born die from neglect in soiled utility closets, that's a pretty devilish thing to vote in favor of. When you vote in favor of allowing a child, an innocent child, who the moment it's born is given the constitutional rights and protections, when you vote in favor of letting that child be starved and be killed, basically, from neglect, from willful abandonment. To let that baby in its hours of greatest need of nourishment and food and oxygen, to let that child die by not raising a hand, feeling the suffering that the child goes through, feeling the pain that its lungs experience, that its body experiences, and hearing the cries at the top of its lungs coming from the closet down the hallway. That's pretty devilish. So while I wouldn't go so far as to call him by name, we don't believe that he's the devil. I don't believe that he's the devil, but I understand people's frustrations in what they say when they say such things. All right, Kevin McCullough, so glad you're with us. The music means we're headed to break. This is AFA Today. It's AFR Talk, and thank you for being with us today. We're talking about this great deal that we got in Iran and your thoughts about what a great deal it is. Stay with us here on American Family Radio Talk.